All right. Hey guys, welcome back to another. Oh, I don't even know what it is anymore. Another stream, I guess. I guess another live stream. Why is that hair sticking out? You guys can't see that, but I can. Okay. It's Land is Sweet, of course. So let's go and hop right in. Okay, so I got this hilarious thing that happened to me last night. Okay, it wasn't. Okay, it was hilarious on my part because idiots are just adorable creatures in which we live cohesively next to, and they make the world go round because they make the smart ones laugh and then extends our life. So yeah, hold on. So thus increasing lots of fun stuff. Okay, so anyway, let's see if I can find it. Really? Can't remember my password. The phone. I'm trying to plug my phone in, but every time I plug my phone in, I need my phone so I can look up passwords. Good grief. This is why, my dear friends, and I know you guys are like, don't put passwords on your phone. Phones can be hacked. Don't care. I have nothing to lose, really. Well, I do have a lot to lose, but yeah. Anyway, let's see, where was it? Okay, it's this one, I think. Right, here we go. Well, yes, it's me. Of course it's me. It's always me. All right. Okay, so anyway, so what I'm showing you guys is basically this adorable post. So are you kidding me? Oh, it's not in there. That's so obnoxious. I'll just read it from my phone then. Okay? Okay. Oh, no, not that one. That one's too funny. Okay, so there's this post or whatever. So you know how you go on like YouTube and you scroll down and sometimes there's like a picture in the middle of like suggested videos that you guys can like see or whatnot. Well, there's this picture of this little girl holding onto her horse with she just this little tiny thing holding onto her horse and riding. And I'm like, And it says, ironically, it says, always appreciate your horse. Okay, for those who don't understand how funny this is, the whole appreciating your horse thing is, yes, I get that. I understand that. Appreciate your horse. Horses are great creatures. The ironic thing that makes me laugh about it is the fact that here's the little girl being taught how proudly to barrel race her horse, which basically means you run around in circles, don't do anything, kick the bejesus out of them, abuse them, slap them, think that it's a good idea. That's how you ride a horse. And it doesn't matter on what the horse thinks and what, so in any shape, form. And I got into this argument. I'm like, okay. So, of course, there's a comment, and there's, like, the cute ones, like, oh, my gosh, adorable horse. I wish I could always have a horse like that, whatnot. And I'm like, There's 3 problems with this post. Number 1. Wasn't going to say the title, but, I mean, I guess if you think about the title. So, I said... So this was what I said. It said, Problem number 1, the spurs. Why are we teaching our kids to abuse horses with spikes? Ever accidentally hit your leg with a Western spur before? It hurts. It hurts because they have Western spurs have this little like spur contraption on them. Actually, I can show you. 1 second. 1 second. I can show you. The only reason I can show you this is because I use these spurs only for the sound that they make when I walk. I like the clinking and clicking of the shoes and the spurs as said walking. Only reason I use them. I used them maybe once or twice way back when I first got them. I was an idiot little kid. Before I guess it was before my perception of back when I was selfish and uneducated. And I thought it was all cool and whatnot, and like I accidentally got on a horse with the spurs, and I'm like, oh crap, I have these spurs on. It should be fine. It was fine because I didn't hit them really that hard with them. However, they're huge spurs. I do not recommend it, especially with an inexperienced rider. Hate giant Western spurs. That's what they are. Yeah, I'm gonna go show you. 1 second. Ow, that was my foot. Okay, so that did not work. All right, we're going to go back to that. All right, come on. There we go. Hello. So here they are. I keep them in a plastic bag because I do not use them and they kind of hurt. And they jab everything. So you guys can kind of hear that, right? So these are pretty big, right? These, compared to my finger, they're probably about the size of a quarter. Oh no, do I have a quarter somewhere? They make them bigger, and a lot of misconceptions on spurs is, oh, they don't hurt the horse because they're blunt. Rule number 1. I do have a quarter. Okay, here's a quarter, right, bros? Here's the size of the spur. See, it's a little bit bigger than a quarter, I guess you could say. So, yeah. There. So, anyway. So, so basically, they're like, oh, so because they're blunted or rounded at the edges like this, they're like, oh, it doesn't hurt the horse. And they roll. Look at them roll. They couldn't possibly hurt the horse. So these go on your boots. So boots, actually, Western boots have a shelf, which they sit on, and then you strap them to the top of them, and you sort of go like that. And then you can jab as much as you want, other known as kicking, and they jab the horse in the gut or the side or the flank, and they go like this. And even after about 3 or 4 hits, it already hurts. It's starting to hurt. Horses are extremely sensitive, so that's sort of why they do all this crazy stuff. Anyway, so this lady, and I'm like, number 2, spurs are not used for young kids due to the fact that people can easily have, if you don't have a long, strong, heavy leg on those spurs, and you have to make sure that your feet are parallel to the horse, not out like this, parallel. It has to be parallel. You guys can't even see me, can you? Hold on. There we go. Shoot. There we go. Let's do this. So parallel, because the spurs are sort of like an overhang of your, like, the back. So think of the spurs as my wrists, and the boots my feet, or the boots my hands. So if you keep them parallel and you're riding a horse, you're not going to hit or do damage if you keep them parallel. However, if you don't have good legs and you clench, where people like to put their feet down with the heels down, toes up, which is correct, but it's easier to go out then in with the heels down, toes up, because that's sort of just how we're like built, I guess. It's easier that way. And I do it that way. A lot of people do it that way. You even get a better anchor when you have them out like that. However, if you do that with spurs and you don't have a good leg, they jiggle and they bump into the horse on accident. Even if you're not trying to hit the horse, that tiny little extra like inch of a thing that they hang off of, you still need to basically not have your leg on the horse, and you basically kick the horse, and kicking the horse by stabbing them makes them want to go faster. So, which is why a lot of Western people like to wear spurs. English people also have spurs as well, and they also do, some of them have tiny little rolls on them too. They're like circle rolls. But a lot of English people have shorter, very shorter spurs. They don't need them as big, and a lot of English people also wear them. I do not wear them, number one, because a long time ago, back when I was a kid, before I even got these Western spurs, I lost them. I misplaced them, and I found I still had a hard time controlling my horse with spurs on. So I would wear them for about one lap and then take them off because my leg wasn't strong enough and I kept hitting them and they kept going faster. The moment you take them off, basically, with the horse I was riding at the time, knew that they were off and would usually go slower and sort of settle down because the pain wasn't registering anymore. So some people might think English spurs are a little bit more cruel because they're more spike. It's one huge spike. Or Western, they roll and are blunt, but they're all blunt. Unless you're an archaic sort of person who doesn't know what a spur is and makes it by hand, then they don't blunt them. Then you're really, really a masochistic type of person. And yeah. Anyway, what I was going back to saying was that I'm like, the reason why you don't have little kids wear spurs is the most common thing with spurs is you accidentally have them jab the horse when you don't need them to jab the horse. Or usually it's just sort of to wake them up a touch. Usually what spurs are, most people will say, it's just to wake them up, just to sort of get them going off your leg because you don't have the leg strength to get them going off your leg. Great tool for that. However, then take them off. You don't need to ride like 4 hours with spurs on. And there's no reason why you should be riding 4 hours with spurs on, making them go as fast as they bloody can. Which I'm surprised they haven't done this in racing where they have spurs on, because spurring horses is horrible anyway, but they use crops for, I guess it wouldn't make sense because I think there would be more bucking going along than moving forward because the people aren't even they're sitting on their backs, but they're not actually, like, their legs aren't even around the horse because of how high their stirrups are for jockeys. So yeah. Anyway, that's a whole another cup of tea that I'm not getting into. I don't like it. I did get into some of the racing history horse lore, which is kind of cool, but I don't like it. Wait, what? Oh, I'll get them back tomorrow. Cool. Anyway, so basically what I said, so I don't like it, so because I changed my ways and whatnot. Basically what I said is I don't like it when people do that. So, let's see. So I'm like, okay, what the heck? Because a lot of people, almost 99.999% of people who are in the rodeo wear spurs. That's where you get the whole spurs thing. That's where you get these horrible contraptions in which is cool because they have speed events, which is even dumber because if you're trying to make a horse go fast, you take away all that fastness by turning them. So barrel racing makes no sense because you make it go fast and then they turn and have to like stop on a dime. Bad for the legs, bad for the tendons, bad for everything. Look up the scientific reasons, blah, 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 blah. Not going to go into it because I feel like a broken record already. So, anyway, and I really hate it when people get their kids into sports such as horses, and especially, sure, it is fun to run around on a horse. It's really fast. It's fun. I've played games on horses. It's fun, just for funsies. I've done a little bit of, quote, barrel racing. It wasn't like anything like I'm doing it all the time. It was more like a once in a blue moon thing, which is fine because it is a once in a blue moon thing, and I'm not whipping my horse in circles with whatever I need, and I'm not overdoing it. Barrel racers overdo it. They sit on their horse, they get on the horse, they run the crap out of them, they turn them around, and they get off. That's what they do. And I speak this majority. Yes, there is a 1% chance that there are people who do it correctly, but when you're learning, you don't do it correctly. When you're learning, you get basics down. When you're learning, you get basics down because basics are simple and quick. Quick is not the best way. Quick is quick. Quick is not the best way and healthiest way for your horse's welfare and horse care and welfare. Welfare? Okay, anyway. So, basically, which is ironic because this also has it where it's like, let's see if I can find it on one of these horses. So on one of these horses, a bonus is an actual, let's see, a bonus is a spur, and if you add a spur, it gives you point plus 9 speed. Ironic, right? But it should go decrease in stamina and longevity of your horse's life because that's the realization in it. Anyway, I hate it when people steamroll other kids and not teach them that this is bad for the horse's health and it's more fun and you get a ribbon because it's fun to get a ribbon. Yes, it's fun to get a ribbon at a young age running around in circles. It's great. It's fun. However, kids have to grow up and learn and make the change for themselves and have some sort of head on their shoulders when they grow up and realize that maybe this isn't what the horse wants. Unless the horse is taught this at a very young age and it's all they ever know, maybe the horse doesn't want to run in circles. Maybe there's a reason why you don't see horses out in pastures running around, running in tight circles and trying to run as fast as they possibly can. It's not because they can. It's not because they want to, because they can. Because they're playing. Usually, if they're running around and jumping around and doing tight circles and stuff, it's because they're playing and having fun and they're free. This is not free. Have you ever seen a horse with its ears pricked because it's happy? No, I think not. So, basically, I am just ranting at this point. So, very, very anti-rodeo and very let your kids learn about how to ride in a quick way instead of a correct way. You do it correct unless you get your kids to figure it out for themselves, or you teach them that that wasn't the correct way and they can make changes and have epiphanies like I had as a kid. Like, maybe that isn't the best idea. I followed a really good trainer and I still love her. I thought she was a great trainer. However, until I saw one interesting thing that made me basically question a lot of the stuff she did, and it questioned the whole thing for me, and here I am today. So, going back to this post. So, I'm like, that's why I'm like, it says always appreciate your horse. Well, clearly you don't appreciate it because you're letting your idiot kid run around and spur your horse around thinking that it's fun. And so I'm like, okay, so it hurts like heck. Why the heck are you allowing this on horses with sensitive skin? A lot of people don't know horses have sensitive skin because they're massive creatures and they have the IQ of a gnat. So, I'm not going to get into that because a lot of horse people in rodeo have the IQ of a gnat and they're all gnats and they all should be whatever. Anyway, so, and then I was like, number 2, the balance. So another big thing rodeo people have in general is balance. They suck at balance. Horses who are running around in tight circles do not have balance because they are running in tight circles and they have the problem with dropping their inside shoulder, meaning if they're running to the left of the barrel and going around the barrel with their left lead or left leg around the barrel, it means that they're dropping their inside left shoulder. It's hard to get a horse to recounter that inside left drop after they've created a habit of doing this. I know this because my horse came like that. I know this because my horse continues to have, actually, ironically, the left lead canter drop shoulder. And I have to use about 80 to 90% of my strength, which I don't have, to try and have the minusculest to make sure he doesn't fall on his face by going and doing corners, like doing a simple light canter through the corners, because he drops his left shoulder, meaning if I put my leg on him to stable him out, here, let me show you. If I put my leg on him, my leg is a post. You can't dip your shoulder into a post because it has a pressing force. So I press my leg against that shoulder so he has more of a chance to get around it and lift that shoulder around, instead of having him drop it. And if he drops it too much, I feel like I'm going to fall on my face. He feels like he's going to trip. And I know for a fact I don't have strength to, which a lot of people are like, well, just lean back. Well, that'd be great if I could just lean back. Except when I lean forward and use my leg a little bit on him, it's a little bit easier to lean forward, use your leg, and use more of your leg strength by leaning forward and using your leg strength, in which you do not have because you do not ride as often, than having all this other stuff. So, if you're still with me, thank God. Anyway, so I still have to use a lot of that leg to hold him in place as he goes around that corner, which is a lot of strength. And then I do lax when it goes to the straightaways because he's cantering straight. Whenever he starts that bend towards that corner is when I got to put my leg on so he doesn't trip. Hopefully you guys understand what I'm saying. Because it's easier to, I'm pretty sure you guys all know, if you run around a corner after a couple times to be quick, it's easier to bend your body in a certain way to get around a corner than having to run around with a straight upper body around a corner. You're putting a lot of more surface area where the wind is holding you back, meaning you're taking seconds more time to get around something. Whether then you slant it, you can basically distribute the wind, meaning you're going to slice it faster if you disturb that wind instead of going straight up. Yeah, a lot of people know what I'm talking about. I'm just making it more complicated than what it is. Anyway, so that's the other thing a lot of barrel racer people have in common is they don't have a lot of that too. And a lot of people, here, I can show you this also. Watch, if I type barrel, wow, I type barrel racers, barrel horse racers, and then I do images, and let's see. Well, they all suck, They're all ugly. They're all making their legs slide down. I'm trying to look for a really... Oh, this one's bad. This one's really bad. Here, I'll show you guys. 1 second. Let's do present. Present, share screen. Bow racers. Okay. As you guys can see, this one right here. You guys can see that, right? So that lady, obviously too big for that horse, is going around that barrel. If she goes any further to her right or left, she's going to use her legs, knock that horse off balance. I'm surprised that horse probably didn't trip or fall on its face, because it's already at an angle and it's got to work twice as hard to regain its balance to get its legs up. And that's why horses fall all the time, is because they have these big ass people hanging off the side, going around these corners, dropping their shoulder, and they got to make up for dropping their shoulder by running twice as fast, and there's just not enough room to run when you have someone leaning on you. So a lot of people, I mean, and her foot looks fine on that one, ironically, which usually they don't. Usually Western people with their legs, there we go, there's a good one. Look at those feet. Everyone knows that if you have your toes pointed down, that's a problem. That's how you get your feet and your stirrups caught, especially in these Western saddles, because Western stirrups and riders tend to put them a little bit longer. However, the problem with it is longer doesn't mean better. Longer, actually, I prefer my Western stirrups, because I did ride Western for fun. I prefer them shorter. I prefer them like a English rider does, with maybe even jumper sort of stirrups. A little bit shorter, so I have a little bit more connection to the stirrups, so I can dig my heels down instead of have to stretch my legs where I can't get my heels down. And then you got these problems where you have the stirrup sliding all the way back into the heel and the groove of the foot, and then if something goes wrong, it's going to get trapped. If something else goes wrong, the spur going to get trapped, and then you're going to fall, and then you won't get off clean because your spurs are going to get caught, and that's a big problem. That's why rodeo is stupid, and everybody should not like rodeo. So that's why I hate rodeo, and I hope it dies. I hope everybody who does rodeo gets to pay their dues in life. So anyway, so I'm like, okay, so second problem, balance. Clean shot. Everybody knows balance is the worst possible thing, because obviously I just talked to you guys about balance. You need to balance your horse or it's going to fall on your face, especially going fast around corners, and they drop the shoulder and all that crap. So that's a summary of that. I just know it because it's a easiest thing. It's so hard to correct unless you have lots of strong legs. If you don't have a strong leg, you get a trainer with the strong leg. If you don't get a trainer with the strong leg, you're never going to help it, and then you're going to have big problems, and it's not going to be fun. So let me tell you, it's never fun. There was this one horse I rode that you could tell it drops its shoulders so much that it was to the point where this horse, you could feel it on a straightaway, that its shoulder wasn't even there. I think it was the left shoulder as well. It was also the right one, but it's a little bit more prominent to the left, but going to the left. So you're riding, and it goes like this, and then you sort of, the waves of you cantering goes like ba-dum, ba-dum, ba-dum. You feel lopsided, and you can feel it as you're lopsided, and it's not fun being lopsided. Riding, it hurts. It's not fun. Anyway, so I'm like, second is balance, because I know all kids have problems with balance. It is just something you have to get on. Girl, and so I said, second problem is balance. Girl needs to balance more as she's too far forward in saddle. Hopefully, number 3 problem isn't what I'm seeing, but I'm guessing from the background you are teaching her barrel racing or how to do barrels for barrel racing. The girl was basically like sitting far forward, I think, like to like scratch a horse on like the neck or something, but still she shouldn't be that far forward, and you can tell she's unknowns to her kicking or wedging the horse in the side. I don't know if you guys can see this on my little thing. Let's see. You guys can see those spurs are digging in right there because she is leaning forward and they dig in. That's just what they do. That's how your body shape reacts, and that's just a normal thing. So what happens? And it's the problem. It's the biggest problem ever in the history of whatever. So I'm like, the second problem is that, and the third one is hopefully is the event you're teaching her with is whatever. And then I said, which isn't a sport, but a full-on abusive event, which doesn't give you an ounce of ability or ounce of balance or riding ability. So what's important? Teaching your kids to ride or riding correctly. So apparently it's teaching your kids to ride and have fun and be selfish instead of care about what the horse thinks or wants or does, because it's all about you and your little friend and your fantasy world and getting pink ribbons. However, this is what she says. First of all, if hold on. That wasn't her first thing. She said, "This." I get a reply that says, "What's the problem of getting your information correct?" Which isn't even a sentence. She spelled that wrong. She got to go back to grammar class because she did not spell that right correctly. She did not spell that right correctly. Wow, that was really bad. God, I need to go back to grammar class too. She did not word that sentence correctly. There we go. So I'm just like, oh, interesting. And so she's like, I have hit myself in the shin, leg, stomach, and head before. None of them hurt, and she's hugging a horse or fixing something. And your problem 3 is incorrect. If done incorrectly, anything can cause harm, but not all people do it that way, and it does require so much more balance and riding ability than you think. From what I can see, you've never rode a horse before, so I suggest you stop talking about something you don't know about. So all of these horse Karens, I guess you could call them, that are in the barrel racing industry, most of them, again, not given the one, or what I point is not even a full percent, I don't think, is a 0.005%, which is half of a 1%. People actually do it correctly. They don't have tie downs. They have rope partners. Their horses are trained. They do not run their horses around in barrels. They warm up like 4 hours before they actually do anything, and then they cool them off like 4 hours after. Those are the real people who I can say, yeah, sure, cool. You can do barrels, awesome. You actually know what you're doing and taking extra care on legs, wraps, and polos and whatnot. Those are also the people who actually do hand wrap their horses' legs, because you know for a fact the people with this professional choice leg wrap, tendon wrap, they don't do anything. They actually, it's not even correct. They don't support the correct digital flexor tendon, which these idiots don't even know about, so they just buy these boots and put on some stupid bell boots because that's the look, and they're like, okay, have at her. They usually use a breastplate, which they don't know what it is, a tie down, which they don't know what those are, because if they did, they would know that it's restricting the horse from moving forward, and a lot of people wouldn't use it. But you see it on barrel races all the time. So this also is the second thing, the fact that they are always very defensive when you give them any amount of criticism, which is hilarious, because if you're going to put anything on the internet, you know you gotta expect criticism. You gotta dish out what you gotta learn, that you gotta serve what you dish out. So you're gonna take back the crap. You're gonna take back the The good comments, the bad comments, everything. The haters, the misconstruers, everybody. So, and the Karens don't have anything. They think that they're the holy ground in which they speak of, and everything they do is right. It's pitch perfect, and they love their horses and blah, blah, blah. Never said anything about they didn't love their horses, just saying that they're not taking good care of their horses. Big difference, but they don't know that. So, why try? Because that's like beating a dead horse with a stick and trying to make it come alive. It's not going to come alive, and they're never going to change their ways. So, you just sort of let them sort of die out, which is ironic because they really haven't died out yet. The idiots. Anyway, so she's all upset because I pointed out to the fact that she's teaching her kid wrong. She picked the worst sport of, if you want your kid to get grown up into the horse community, you don't pick barrel racing. Sure, it's the cheapest, easiest possible way to go. Sure, you can do all the things you want. Sure, but you're going to look like you're an abuser. If you don't want to look like you're an abuser, because that's what most of the sport is, then don't be in that sport. It's that bloody simple. If you don't want to be named as if your kid is like a murderer because they started off as a soldier or an assassin, then you don't put them in the Boy Scouts of learning how to be a soldier and being assassins. It's so simple, people. This is simple math. These are layups. Anyway, I digress. But of course, Karens don't know that, and they just want to save a pretty penny and a pretty money and blah, 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 blah. So whatever. What do I know? But anyway, so these people aren't very smart, obviously. And my computer's going to die because apparently. Let's just see. So we end up having a discussion going back and forth of whether or not she actually knows what it means to, if Western spurs hurt or not, which is fantastic because she keeps denying that Western spurs do not hurt. And I'm like, they do though, bro. They do. Have you ever taken a Western spur? I'll show you. You take a Western spur, ma'am. And I know for a fact, when you're barrel racing, you're not doing this. Because this is your leg. You're not doing this lightly. You're doing this. And it hurts. Ow, that did hurt. It hurts. I got like, ooh, and I bruised like a peach. That hurt. Why'd I do that? It hurts, man. This stuff is not for the faint of heart. You are kicking your horse. And starfishing. Starfishing means your legs are out here and you gotta kick like this. I don't think you guys can see me. You're kicking like this. I'm the horse. The horse is down here. These are your legs. You're kicking like this to make him go faster. Horse is going to go faster because you're kicking him like that. To add a spur to it, the horse is going to start running blindly because you're jabbing him like a big stab. Now, I'm not actually hitting my body with these because they do hurt. They do hurt. It is a sensitive spot. Try poking yourself. And she's like, oh, I've hit myself on the shin. I've hit myself on the head. They don't hurt. Best part, she said, they roll. They're blunt. These stupid people are like, they roll. They're blunt. It doesn't hurt the horse. It doesn't hurt the horse. We got this adorable pink ribbon to prove it doesn't hurt the horse. Lies. Let me tell you. Horses can feel if a fly is on them in a windstorm. Meaning, they are sensitive creatures. You add a giant spur to it and you kick them like there's no tomorrow, they are thinking you are stabbing them. Like you are the predator with the jaws and you are clamping down. Yeah, they're gonna run. I would run too. But the only problem is, I bet if people didn't have the Western bit in their mouth, those horses would be long gone. Those horses, if they could, and whatnot, then they do this all the time in bronc riding, which I don't really want to talk about because it's just killing horses for entertainment purposes, is you're riding horses to their death, basically. You make them so frightened of your leg that they just go into a fight or flight mode. They can't fight back. They flight. Usually they flight, meaning they run. They run and they can't find a good place to run to until they hit a wall. And then they die because of concussion or any other sort of fun things. Look up mortality rate in rodeo riding, and then you will see what happens to people. But of course they don't care. By the time they care, by the time there is a problem with barrel horses, whatnot, those horses have already gotten too slow for them, and they're like, we need to trade in and upgrade for a new one. And then someone else gets left with either sending them to slaughter or doing something else. Something really sad, because most of these horses, their tendons get ripped to shreds. Their mouths are so tired and weak. There's a reason why people say you break a horse's spirit, or the old Western people say that. Yeah, you are breaking a horse's spirit. And it's very, very depressing and sad to see, because if we had the other shoe, if we turned the other shoe where we were riding people, kicking people with spurs, whatever, you know what we called those? We called that the medieval times. And people learned medieval times were not a fun time. I think we should bring them back and really, really get these Karens to learn that we can beat up you. We can, because that is what you're doing emotionally and mentally to people, and maybe you just need a slap on the wrist because you're too entitled. But we can't do that anymore. We can't give any criticism because people are too squishy and soft, and they hurt and get butt hurt feelings because people are dumb. So, then this lady's all like, she's like, you're incorrect, you don't know. Oh, and it says, she's very good at barrels. She's not a beginner. Spurs do not hurt. She does not use sharp spurs. You can roll spurs over the body. They do not hurt. She has no balance. Oh my God, is giving a horse a dang hug. She's not abusing her horse. When people say abuse, I think they mean hit. They see a physical, you have to slap the horse. You have to punch the horse. You got to do something like a human physical does something to another human physically. That is what people call abuse. However, that is not true. You are doing a lot more abuse in a lot of different ways with a lot of different things. And ironically, we're still using the same equipment as in the medieval times. How ironic. We may have updated our lethal weapons and lethal injections instead of doing a guillotine or drawn, cut, and quartered. But here we are, the same principles as a jousting mistake, where we run around and we kick horses. Have you guys seen House of the Dragon? The freaking guy gets angry because the horse is in heat and the horse doesn't want to go, so he basically kills the horse. I'm sorry, but was it just me, or was I the only one that the very first episode, I almost could not watch it because I was sad for the horses in the film? The horses, bro. The poor things running at full speed, the noises they're making, the heavy armor they're forced to wear, and then the fact that the guy trips the horse. When that horse goes down, that horse is probably done for. That is a death sentence to a horse. If you trip a horse and it's running at full speed and it goes face over tea kettle, it's scary. When you see it go in real life and it's really fast, it's game over for that horse. You better put it down. Because that horse has broken ankles, legs, probably a smushed face because of all the momentum it's carrying, and then it falls. So getting worked up. Anyway. But yes, it is a thing. And it's sad because a lot of people don't understand this. And it's just, it's obnoxious. So anyway. So this lady's like, but they're blunt. And blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, oh my God, I can't. This lady's dumb. Maybe if I, so when I talk to people like this, I try to explain it with 4 different angles of explanation to see if they can get it. Usually by the 3rd or 4th, they usually tend to catch on pretty quick. And they're like, oh, I understand, but I'm not like that, so it can't be me. However, this lady was not getting it. I'm like, oh my God. I'm done. After the 4th, what was it? The 4th time I said something, she's like, I'm like, yeah, I said, as vet tech and a rider, research shows differently on the pain and problems come with people riding the spurs. And then I started laughing at her like, oh my God. You thought. Because when she posted, my spurs are blunt. They don't hurt the horse. They roll. They don't hurt the horse. Oh my God. That killed me. That freaking killed the crap out of me. That's like this. That's like, so I was trying to think of an analogy to tell her to make her understand, but I couldn't think of one at the time, so I'm like, I can't. That's like stabbing you with my fingers. They're blunt, they're round, but me stabbing you in the eyes still hurts, right, bro? Right? It still hurts when I poke you in the eye because it's a soft spot. Because it's a sensitive area. No. But of course, I thought that analogy wouldn't work too well, so I didn't have a really good analogy. And I'm like, because I like to teach people through analogy, and it's an old sort of habit that I picked up on, sort of just I just love analogies because it sort of explains a lot of stuff in a shorter sentence without having to explain it very carefully and make me waste my breath, which is funny because I was thinking about it on a while, about 2 days ago, and I was thinking, oh my God, I'm like Shigemaru from Naruto. If I have to explain it, it's a bore. It's too much work. Idiots, a lot of them. I shouldn't have to explain myself. They haven't figured it out. It's common sense. I'm not doing it. Anyway, I picked up a lot of quirks that Shigemaru sort of has that are really relative to me, and some of them are a little bit too advanced for me, but also I feel like I still fit in the Shigemaru category. If you guys don't know who Shigemaru is, let me show you. One sec. Okay. This is Shigemaru. He is a character. He's like the really, 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 really smart character in Naruto. It's a what's it called? It's a anime series, and he's a ninja. He uses shadows, and he's a smart shadow guy. So anyway, move on. Okay, good. That stayed there. So yeah, so I sort of am like going with him. So I'm laughing at her at this point. Like, I'm dying laughing. Like, oh my God, I can't believe she just said that. I can't believe she hasn't figured it out yet. This is like my 4th time trying to like tell her softly about it without being too blunt by being nice about it. But after you get to a certain point, I'm not nice. I'm just covertly blunt. Sometimes I just go straight for the bluntness because it's too much work and I'm too tired or something. And then they're like, and I'm thinking the only reason that your spurs wouldn't hurt you is if you have nerve damage on your skin by an injury. This is true. When I got kicked in the face by a horse a long time ago, I had nerve damage on my face. This whole side of my face, I had nerve damage, and it was, let's see. So this whole side of my face, all the way up here to the side, all the way to the eyebrow, all of it was basically numb. I mean, even now, I can tap it sometimes. I can tap and not feel a tap, or I won't feel the tap. Like, I can poke it a lot and it won't hurt because the nerves never came back. And of course, sometimes they can regenerate and because of the nerves or whatever, but sometimes nerve damage is too far gone and you can't do anything to. And basically what happened with that was the reason I knew that if they were coming back or not was me plucking my eyebrows. I could pluck the full-on eyebrow on that side the first couple years. I want to say the first 4 years after the incident because of the nerve damage that it had instilled in my face and not feel it. I'd be asymmetrical because the moment I touched one tiny little hair, tried to pluck it on the other side, whew, boy, those are some deep roots, my dear friend, and it hurt. So I said as a thing, like, unless you have nerve damage where you can't feel anything, then you're full of it and saying spurs do not hurt. Have you ever taken a spur and jabbed it to your side? Yes, it's a weird request because I'm weird like that. And the only reason I know that is because sometimes I like to experiment on myself on saying, I wonder if this would hurt. I figured it out. It does hurt. And them saying, yes, I know I have a very sensitive sort of threshold to pain, but I know if you do it long enough, it hurts. If you do it in a sensitive spot, it hurts more. Usually I bruise more easily than people too. So I say I bruise like a peach, but you know. So anyway, so this lady is like, so I'm like, unless you got nerve damage from that, whatever. She's like, I don't have any nerve damage. I don't use pointy spur. Mine are as smooth as a penny. Like, they can be as smooth as a penny and still hurt. It is a thing, bro. And I'm like, at this point, I'm like, I'm done. I can't. I said 1, 2, 3. 3 replies back to this lady. So, okay, 2 replies, not including the first one. Because, yeah. And I'm like, as fun as this conversation has been, I'm losing too many brain cells to continue. Good luck on your travels. Have fun. The end, sort of thing. Just sort of wrapping it up. And I'm like, you do you. Whatever makes you sleep at night. If it's not abuse to you, whatever. It clearly is. But you're in denial and it's so far deep, I can't even get you out of it. And I'm not even going to try to get you out of it because that's not my job. That's the job of angels and other demons in which are coercing you into doing something crazy. So I'm like, good luck. May the odds be ever in your favor. Have fun and take your chances when you die, when you have to be spoken to judgment. So I didn't say all of that, but I was thinking it. And let me spell it out for you, bro. Dull or sharp Western spurs roll, yes, but they are like fingers. They don't have to be sharp razor blade and cause bleeding to make them painful. Next time you have spurs on them, take them out and move them 6 inches to a foot away from your thigh. Then, as if your thigh is a horse, hit, not very hard, but hit the spur over your thigh a few times and tell me it doesn't hurt, cause it will. Then, unless there's like, if they're really, really small and she's not hitting super hard, I guess they technically couldn't hurt, but it does hurt after a while. Like the first couple times, sure, it wouldn't hurt, but after a couple of minutes, it does hurt. Because it will. Then again, I doubt there's much hope into turning you into a selfless person. Don't worry, selfishness is a disease that runs through most barrel racers because the sport is based on a selfish vision for a pretty pink ribbon and rewarding bad behavior. We call the behavior in the real world abuse. I died. I'm like, what a good back-slapped-handed message. Like, I was so proud after I finished that sentence. I'm like, yep, that was good. That's a good note to leave off on. I'm happy with that. And at first, though, after I said all this stuff, I'm like, maybe I should delete it because maybe I should remove the comments. I'm like, you know what? No. Let the world come and rain hate down on my parade like I could give a rat's butt. I don't, because it's the truth, and truth hurts. If you don't like the truth, then go back to your world which you live in and hide underneath your pillows and blanket and your poor little horse because, yeah. But I was laughing. And then this other lady jumped in to, like, defend herself, too, which was funny. And they're like, she's like, let me guess, you read English. So she clearly is an English hater. So she's like, let me guess, you read English. You know nothing about barrel racing. I'm like, bro, I know enough about barrel racing that it's not that deep. I don't need a 4-year med degree to know about barrel racing, to know that it's a really stupid sport. I came from the frickin' English pleasure circuit. I know about barrel racing. It's a bad sport to be in. I don't like it. Yes, I'm biased about it. I don't like it. Don't care. Really don't like it. A lot of other horse sports I don't like too. Probably even the sport that I'm in right now as an equinist. People probably say a lot of bad stuff about that, and I know there's bad stuff about it too. But here's the but. It's not as bad, doesn't have as bad as a rap as barrel racing does, or race horsing does, or any of the other sports that I can think of does. Sure, call me biased about it, but I guess everybody's a little biased in the sport that they find whatever. Also, due to the fact that my horse and I don't do that sport anymore. Sure, we go over a few jumps every once in a while for fun, and they're like not even a foot off the ground. Doesn't mean I'm going to be killing my horse anytime soon or putting it on pain meds. My horse already has enough medical things, and that is why I've decided to basically retire him for the last 5 years, because I didn't want him to become a chronic horse. Because I knew that with his condition, I didn't want him to become chronic. I wanted to save his legs instead of kill them off. So this other... And then she's like, because you have money and all this stuff. I'm like, you're funny that think that I have money. And, or whatever. I'm like, yes, I do write English. No, I don't use spurs on my horse to get my horse to move off my leg. No, I do not have money, because here I am just sitting here doing nothing, but I don't have money. I'm working overtime, bro. I'm still struggling. So, do you. Yes, I have made mistakes in the past, but at least I'm grown enough to have learned that I've made those mistakes, which is true. I've made the same mistakes, but that's because I didn't know any better. And once I did know any better, it's the fact of evolving and learning what is a better choice. to do for your horses as a caregiver and a horse person, to know what's the best for your horse instead of what's the best for yourself. Because I love my horse and care for my horse. I don't try and do anything he doesn't want to do in any pain or anything like that. If he doesn't want to run around in circles all day, that's his choice. Cool. He still needs to exercise a little bit just to get those muscles going and to keep his muscle tone like any healthy person or horse needs. But it doesn't mean I'm going to be running him around, jumping 5-foot fences because he needs the exercise. He doesn't. He does not need that type of exercise. He does not need the extra pounding pressure on his legs or his stifles or any of bodily functions. He does not need that. Of course, I didn't say that to her, but I was like, I've made mistakes, bro. You probably can make mistakes. Trying to get more into the humanity side to appease her a little bit. Of course, that doesn't really work. And at this point, I'm like, but you know what? I'm at my limit of talking to idiot people. This is what I did say. I'm at my limit of talking to idiot people. So enjoy your life. Don't care. Blah, 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 blah. Yes, I ride. Blah, blah, blah. But sorry to pop your bubble, but they attend rodeo competitions. I wasn't in any rodeo competitions when I was younger, thank God, because I'm not into that horse abuse. But apparently you like that. So whatever it is to make you sleep good at night. And sorry to pop your bubble, your dream bubble, but welcome to reality. Enjoy your life. And at least I changed for the good of all horses before I even got to have one. Because it is true. Before I even got the horse I have now, before I got the horse I had now, before I thought it was fun to jump jumps and do all this stuff, but I learned that it's not all about you. And that horse also, the horse I have now, also helped me learn that it's not all about you. Usually people hand in the horse that I have now because of his lameness issues. And a lot of people probably would have sold him to slaughter by now. And I've had a couple farriers that said, yeah, your horse would be long gone if it wasn't for you, and basically taking the care and time that he needs by giving him the care and time that he needs. I mean, I've soaked more feet in the history of the last 10 years than probably anybody at the stable that I'm at now. I've done more poultice wrapping, regular wrapping, more sitting, stressing over, soaking one foot, having a day off of him being finally not being lame, and then having him being 3-legged the next day because it's popping, because he's getting an abscess out of another foot. I mean, but that's just him. He's prone to getting abscesses. That's just him, and that's a lot of extra handle that a lot of people in maintenance that a lot of people don't want to have to deal with. That's the sad part. A lot of people don't want to deal with the extra mile. They don't want to go the extra mile. They just want to sit in their cave, do what they can, do the most minimalistic thing, and then whatever. I get that. And ironically, I'm also getting to the point where it's getting too much, because I'm in this constant debt, basically. I'm in this constant vicious cycle. But again, I also don't know what else I would do with my life if I did not have him. So that's also the other end of it as well. So because every time I go see him, he brings me so much joy and happiness, and everything is all worth it. All the problems go away. Even when he's hopping around as happy as he can be on 3 legs, he's still happy. And I know the underlying issue. It's not a medical emergency, and it's not a life-ending career issue. It is a manageable issue that he has, and it's just, for a lot of people, an obnoxious one that no one wants to tolerate. I get it. Even I have gone to the places where, when I've had him, at sort of how unfair I always get with some of the horses that I've had. The first one I got had lameness issues as well, ironically, and she had a back issue, and I guess it also sort of stems from the fact that maybe I'm making it up for not paying more attention and giving her extra care by trending her in like every other pathetic human would, for a different lease. And now here she is popping out babies like a broodmare does, all because of her bloodlines and where it started in the beginning. I mean, it's sad, but at least I'm doing something with the horse that I have now, and I love him to bits and pieces, and that's all to it, really. So basically, all of that aside, you really just have to know what your strengths, weaknesses are. Hold on. What your strengths, weaknesses are, how much you actually want to do something, and how much time and effort you're willing to actually put in. Because a lot of people, they have a heart of gold, but it doesn't last for a long time. I feel like mine's lasted and really made me grown and see things that I would have never seen if I didn't have this horse, the horse I have now. I mean, I would have never realized that you can get to a point in which you think you're right where you're supposed to be at, and then you tumble again. It's literally, he's been the epitome of life, basically, where you get to a point in your life and you're comfortable, and then something else happens. Something else sort of blacks it, and you're back to square one off the peg of the ladder, and you're starting again at ground zero, and you start to build yourself back up, and right as you're building yourself back up, you don't get back to that point. You're just a few legs away from it, and then you're kicked back down. I have been more of the kicked back down sort of person, to a point where I've learned the game. I have learned that game. Sad as it is, I've learned it pretty well. A lot of people don't know that. I've also wanted to start doing a vlog with my horse and stuff like that. I just haven't had the time. That, and my trainer really doesn't like it when I videotape and stuff, so I don't know how well she would like that. I mean, unless I went on the weekends, but I'm working on the weekends, so I only get 3 hours to myself if I'm working on weekends. So there's that, because they need help on the weekends at where I work, just because we're understaffed, no one cares. I always feel like I'm like a captain. I'm going to be the last one off the ship, because I never get the memo of anything. It's okay. It's okay. I'll figure it out. I always do. Unfortunately, I always figure it out. Oh my gosh, so many ponies on this thing. Could you imagine if you had this many ponies? I think it's like over 200 on this account. I couldn't imagine. I'd struggle with one. Though I think if you get like a herd or something, you can get like a bundle or a deal off of it, because it's a herd. There's so many horses. It's the same thing with like vet bills too. If they give you a discount if it's a lot of animals at once, because they're getting paid off the animal, I think, depending on who it is. I mean, I'm done with that one. Oh my gosh, I'm still not done. I'll be done by now. No. Cool. No remaining places, but it says one remaining place right there. Fantastic. I love it when that happens. It's fantastic. I also need a new computer. Anybody have a really good computer they don't want? This one is sort of dying on me. It's ironic. Alright guys, I think after this horse, okay, after this like section of horses, I'm gonna end the stream there with the rant. It started with a discussion, and then it came to laughing, and then it was a rant. I know, right? Oh my gosh, I forgot how many extra little babies I have in this one. Oh, that one's really cool. Oh, I got it because it had the really cool night tack. That's why. That's really cool. That's why. Yeah, let's go. All right. Come on. Divine Plant Kingdom horse of your choice. Well, thanks. Cool. I get one full. Cool, but I also want this one. Black market item. Come on, I have to be done by now, right? Cool, I'm done. Awesome. Extended my board. Let's make sure I extend other people's boards because that's the only nice way to do things. Reserved, everything is not reserved. Okay, meadows. Nope, 3 more days, guys. 3 more days. Huh. Start a crop. I can't start there. I can't. Cool. It's golden fleece. Oh, I don't want that. Pink challenge. Oh, I didn't know I had 500. All right, let's log out and I'll leave that to you guys. And thank you guys for hanging out and listening to my rant on idiot people and the internet because that's what they are. Guys, moral of the story. Try not to argue with idiot people. Gets you nowhere. They're all idiots. You can't change the idiocy in which they are bred. It doesn't work. Nothing works. But for those beautiful psychiatrists and psychologists out there, bless you for the patience that you have with the idiots in which you have to speak of. Because I'm not one of those. I remember I felt like I was one of those in high school. wasn't fun, guys. Everybody came to me for advice, and it was like, bro, I'm giving you relationship advice, and I haven't had a boyfriend yet. Interesting, right? You'd think that no. Apparently, though, it would always work. That's the interesting part. That maybe I'm in the wrong field. Maybe I shouldn't have been a vet tech. Maybe I should just go into psychology, Mess with people has heads. That'd be cool. All right, guys. See you guys later. And be sure to, of course, waddle on. Bye, guys.